Hi, everyone. Good morning. Sorry, I'm actually delighted to. Let me start again. Hi, everyone. I'm Sue Coffey. I am your professor for nursing research this term, and I'm so excited to be teaching it. I love nursing research. I love doing nursing research and talking about nursing research. Although I just have to apologize, I am recording this Zoom lecture on bed rest. I had a procedure done on Friday, so I apologize for that. That the setting is a little bit imperfect, but really happy to just give you a little bit of a quick overview here about the course, where you can find things, and what you can expect. So let's talk. I know a lot of people really want to just get to the heart of things and talk about what is expected in the course. So let's talk about the requirements, the student requirements. There are four major areas. The first thing is what you do in almost every one of your courses: participate in those online discussions. And we've actually kept it down to, I think, a really reasonable number of discussions, and so that you can give some real good effort into each one of those discussions. In weeks 3, so that's coming up, 7, 9, and 11, you'll be doing a discussion, and it's pretty similar to what you do in your other courses. One initial discussion from you, one initial posting that each one of you is required to do, and then 2 follow-ups in response to your peers. And again, you're going to use literature, good, strong literature references, look at the posting requirements. Now, if you think about it, that's worth 20% of your grade. So each one of those postings is worth 5%. That means you're going to put some good thought into them, construct them well, make sure they're written well, make sure your references are solid and included. So remember, 5% each. And the first one is next week, and that's going to be on developing your PICO question. So that you have some readings about that in both your regular textbook, but also the workbook. You also have 2 term tests. For both of your tests, they're multiple choice tests, and you're going to be using Respond as Lockdown Browser. So that means that if you haven't used that before, you just have to do a little trial, and we'll post a little trial. Just 3 or 4 questions, have nothing to do with the exam, but just to make sure that your system is all set up to use that. Otherwise, the first test is on modules 1 to 5. It's going to be open for several days. It'll open at 10 a.m. on October 8th and run till at the end of the day, so midnight on October 11th. The second term test is going to be on modules 6 to 10, and that again opens at 10 a.m. on November 12th, and it will close at the end of the day or midnight on November 15th. The term test 1 is going to be worth 15% of your grade, and term test 2 worth 20% of your grade. Remember, both of those multiple choice. Term test 1 is on modules 1 to 5. Term test 2, it's not cumulative. It's on modules 6 to 10. And because we've spread out the tests over the course of the term, we have removed a final exam. And so we're hoping that gives you a little bit more of a break over the Christmas holidays to really recover, because I know you're always just really working flat out, for many of you, with family lives, work life, and then also school life. You also are going to complete an assignment in 2 parts. So in this course, we're actually going to simulate what it would be like to develop a research question, do the research to find out the answer to that PICO question, and then submit it as if you were going to present that at a research conference, and actually develop a poster. And that's going to happen in 2 parts. So let's talk about that. In part A, you're going to develop that question. So think about where you work. Let's say I work in the emergency department, and something relatively new, not as relatively new, is this idea of, do we therapeutically cool patients who've had an acute MI or acute stroke, other kinds of conditions, therapeutically actually lower body temperature, and how does that impact actual outcomes? So I might look at developing the question. I look at the patient population and the therapeutic intervention and the outcomes. And so I developed my PICO question around that. And then I want to do a literature search. Now I'm going to do a literature search, not on a Google search, but in high quality nursing databases. And necessary for this one is CINAHL, but also you can use other ones. Look in the course syllabus that's going to describe that for you, that assignment. I've also posted some resources, and I'll talk about those in a second, that are really going to help you with that. But you're going to do that literature search, and you're also going to describe it. So not just finding those articles, you're going to tell me how you did the search. What were the search terms you used? How did you put them together? And I've posted a reference for you to talk about that. You're going to find the 5 best articles you can find, not the first 5, but the 5 best articles that really are, they're research articles, they're peer reviewed, they're within the last 5 years, they're relevant to your question. and you're going to do annotations on that. So that means you're going to actually do a critique of them, a critical analysis of those research articles, and then you're going to write a 250-word abstract. So sometimes when you read a journal article, you'll see an abstract at the beginning, which is a summary. That's not what we're talking about. In this situation, we're talking about a 250-word, for one page, proposal to present at that conference, to present at our virtual conference. All right, so I'm going to summarize that again. Imagine you've got a burning question from your practice area. Does kangaroo care really make a difference in for babies immediately post-delivery in terms of stabilizing vital signs? Interesting question. Now you're going to develop that question much more in a much more refined way using that PICO formula. Then you're going to do that literature search. Remember, I've got a resource posted to show you exactly how you put those terms together to do a very refined literature search, and you're going to use high quality databases, not a Google search, to find those articles. You're going to find 5 good research articles, peer-reviewed, and relative to your question within the last published within the last 5 years, and research, not just a general commentary article or something else. They're a research article. And then you're going to, for each of those articles, create an annotation. And in that annotation, you're going to be looking at things like, what is the level of evidence? So is this a primary study that used qualitative or quantitative methodologies? Was this a randomized controlled trial? Is this a systematic review? And again, we're posting resources. Those are all available for you, but you're going to then, for each journal article you find, those 5 high quality articles, you're going to write an annotation. Start with your APA reference, and then go through the process of writing it. And I'm actually going to post an example for you that might help you. And so you've got your question, you've got your done your literature search, you've got your 5 good articles. And now you're saying to yourself, I want to present this at a conference. I want to make a poster, but in order to get to that point, I have to make a proposal for that. And that's called an abstract. You're submitting a proposal for that conference. It's going to be just 1 page long, 250 words. And in that 250 words, you're going to make your pitch for what you're going to present on your poster. So it's like you're preparing for what you will include on that poster. All of this is described in the assignment description, but that's what assignment part A of number 1 is, and that's worth 25% of your grade, and a rubric is posted for where the grades are distributed and what's required. Then, and that's due October 6th, end of the day, October 6th. And then on November 10th, you're actually going to submit your virtual poster. You're going to have followed up on your proposal that you submitted and any feedback that you got. And you're going to have made that virtual poster, which is an electronic poster. Now you can use any kind of digital formatting for that. Typically, we suggest to students that they use PowerPoint, use one singular slide. Again, references are posted to show you how to do that. It's a very important skill to be able to make an electronic poster. Then if you wanted to actually present somewhere or go somewhere, you could just have that printed in a large format, 3 feet by 4 feet, whatever you set it up as. But for this, you'll just be submitting the electronic copy. And you're also going to submit a brief document that describes what your intention was. So sometimes you've made a poster and you think it's fantastic, and I think it's fantastic. Sometimes you've made a poster, you think it's fantastic, but I'm not really getting what you were intending, why you chose those colors, why this focus in a particular area. So that brief document enables me to understand your thinking, right? So it really gives me the opportunity to get inside your head a little about some of the decisions you made, and that's going to be really helpful. So that part B is due November 10th, end of the day, and it's worth 20% of your course grade. So you've got your 20% for your online postings. Those are happening in weeks 3, 7, 9, and 11. You've got that assignment 1, which has 2 parts. Part A, due October 6th, and that is the PICO question, a literature search, your 5 good articles with annotations, and then the abstract. That's worth 25%. You've got part B of that assignment due, which is the actual poster that you had been proposing, and that is due end of day November 10th, worth 20%. And then you've got the 2 tests. One is on modules 1 to 5, that is open October 8th to 11th, and that is worth 15%. And term test 2 is open November 12th to 15th, and that is worth 20%. Both of those are fully multiple choice questions, and you're going to need Respondus lockdown to be able to do those. And then finally, all students are required to do the Tri-Council Ethics Certificate. That's pass-fail. It's just due by the end of the day, December 1st, and there is a link to find that. It takes some time, so you might want to work your way through it. Some people say it takes up to 6 hours, so you don't do it all at once. There's many modules. You can do one at a time, save it, and then go back and do it, or you can do it all at once. It is up to you. And I also just wanted to go through where you can find some things. So it's a real, in addition to where you're going to find all your learning modules, I really suggest that you go to that general information tab, because there's some pretty critical stuff there. First is the syllabus. Now, I've just done a real quick run through on all of the assignments, but the syllabus is going to give you a lot more information about that. And it's also going to talk about what the readings are week by week, and you're going to find other information there. There's also a summary document, a week by week just summary document. That'll give you the date, the readings, and if you have any assignments that are due or any tests that are due, things like that in that week. I'm also starting, you'll see, to load up resources to really help you. Now, don't feel overwhelmed. It's up to you if you want to use them, but I would really suggest that they're going to demystify a lot of things in terms of if you're thinking, for example, in assignment 1A, how do I do a literature search the way Sue's talking about? I'm just used to do it, you know, opening up CINAHL and typing in some words, stroke and blood pressure, something like that. But there's much more effective ways to do that. And as scholars and as graduates of the SCM program, it's really essential that you have those skills. So I've put a file there that describes, there's two different folders. One is PowerPoints and other resources for the week by week readings. So you'll notice I'll start to load up for weeks 1 and 2, I loaded up a PowerPoint, just a PowerPoint, no voiceover, no Zoom lecture, just a basic PowerPoint that covered some of the basic concepts that were in your readings. I'll do that week by week, just load up resources. Sometimes I'll have a voiceover, sometimes I'll actually record something like this, or sometimes it'll just be a PowerPoint. It's up to you if you want to use them. You should be fine with just your readings, but this augments it, and I think it helps. Sometimes it's hard when you've got all those readings to figure out what is most important. I've also got another folder there that is called Resources for Assignments 1A and B. And then when you open that up, you'll see there's for Assignment 1A and then another one for Assignment 1B. And you'll see that I'll continue to populate those. And so, for example, Assignment 1A requires you come up with the PICO question. You've got resources for that. But it also requires that you do a lit search and describe the lit search. So you're going to write 1 or 2 paragraphs that say, how did you do the lit search? What were the terms that you used? And how did you combine those terms? And so you'll see I've got 2 resources already loaded there. A PowerPoint that's just the PowerPoint slides that show you how to do that, how you use brackets, how you use and or, how you combine terms, how you use things that are like called a wildcard and stuff. It's all in that PowerPoint. It is so helpful in getting you to the information you want right away, instead of filtering your search and coming back with 10,000 different articles or 5,000 different articles. This really brings it down by giving you the most concise search. And it's important that you have the skill. But in addition to the basic PowerPoint, I've also recorded a voiceover PowerPoint. I don't know if you'll find that helpful or not, but just it helps to explain the slides a little bit. So it's, I'm sorry, it's a little bit tedious, but you know, you move the slide by slide and you listen to the PowerPoint. And I'll continue. That's where you'll find in that folder, I'm going to load up an example of an annotation. Remember that we're talking about how you find your article and then you create an annotation. You start with your APA formatting, perfect APA formatting of your reference, and then you include a description of what the research study was. You do a critical appraisal of it, and you're looking at the level of evidence that was involved in that study, and then you look at any gaps and other things. That's described in the assignment, but I'm also going to put an example there. Some of you I know have said that you really learn from examples. So hopefully that will be helpful for you. And I will continue, so I'll continue to populate that. And I'll get 1A done as we move towards that assignment due date. And then 1B, which is the actual poster, I will load a poster, an example, just an example of a poster or two, how you might want to make a poster. And you may find that helpful, and also some resources of where you can find poster, where you know how you can format PowerPoint if you choose PowerPoint to make your poster, some examples, some tips that you can find, some different websites that are really helpful. I hope that is a good beginning summary. please email me anytime. So use Susie at nipissingU.ca, and I am delighted to talk to you anytime. I hope this is a good beginning point for you to sort of get an overview of the course. As we move through, things will come up week by week. We try to really cut down, actually, I know it sometimes feels a little overwhelming, but to cut down on the readings, and to, even though there are a number of assignments due sort of every couple of weeks, you're going to find you've got something due. We try to really, I think, maximize student success by breaking the testing down instead of one large final that students felt a little overwhelmed with, to have the 2 midterms that were not cumulative, and actually removed an additional assignment. So we've tried to bring it down a little bit for you. I hope you find that helpful. If you need any support, please get in touch with me. I'd be happy to talk to you. I'm always here. Let me know what I can do for you. And I hope you find this a really great journey into understanding nursing research and really coming to love it as much as I do, and Charles does, and Barb does. We're all the teaching team this fall. Okay, I think that's it for me for now, and just keep watching those file folders as I continue to populate them, and I look forward to working with you over the rest of the term. Have a great day, enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I will talk to you soon.